We've got some fascinating reporting coming from friend of the show, Ken Klippenstein, of what is going on inside of ICE and Border Patrol, which seems to be experiencing a bit of a crisis of morale, possibly linked to the fact that they shot a mom in the face last week. It might be that, it might be other stuff, I'm not sure. But anyway, they've apparently been wanting to surge in Minnesota, send more troops because 2,000 to 3,000 isn't enough, I suppose. And they've taken to asking for volunteers to sign up. And apparently they're not getting as many as they would like. And according to Ken Klippenstein, by the way, you can go to kenklippenstein.com to find all of his reporting and other leaked documents that he got on ICE. He says a Border Patrol agent familiar with the discussion said the volunteer push reflects a real unease in the ranks about the Good shooting in Minneapolis and the related surge. Quote, "We do have personnel, but some just don't want to go." Yeah, maybe they don't want to be affiliated with that. Maybe they don't want to have the people of Minnesota rightly just shower them with insults. Maybe they've seen the videos of ICE unable to literally walk on ice and they're just worried about bruising their tuchuses. I don't know, but they do seem to have a problem with Minnesota recently. One of the sources at Homeland Security said to Ken, there might be some immature knuckleheads who think they're out there trying to capture Nicolas Maduro, but most field officers see a clear need for de-escalation. There's genuine fear that indeed ICE's heavy-handedness and the rhetoric from Washington is more creating a condition where the officers' lives are in danger rather than the other way around. So I think that you could go too far with that and say that, like, that's basically what Tom Homan is saying, is the idea that, oh, everybody's against us and so we might kill people or whatever. I personally think that it's strange that we have infinitely higher standards and expectations for protesters than we do the highly paid, if not highly trained officers of ICE and Border Patrol. But I do get that the public has turned against them. There's now net support for abolishing ICE. Not good for ICE here. And the DHS official says an increasing number of Homeland Security workers are concerned about the public backlash, saying, quote, the claim is that recruiting is up, but there's also dread that the gung-ho types that ICE and the Border Patrol are bringing in have a propensity towards confrontation and even violence. Key word is it's on a voluntary basis signing up. If no experienced senior agents step up, they send the new guys straight out of the academy with their 47 days of training. Not a good idea. In a nutshell, it's us versus them on steroids. And I think some Border Patrol agents are more willing to use force and not feel restrained when you got DHS leadership lying to cover for them. For example, Kristi Noem lying her ass off. What happened is like saying to the federal agents on the ground, go ahead and do whatever you have to do. We got your back. We will find a way to justify it. And in a moment, we're gonna get into more of the internal documents that Ken got leaked. But Sharon, it is, you would think maybe like if they wanted to improve morale, turn public opinion back towards them, maybe they could tell their officers to stop producing these absolutely abhorrent videos that are flooding social media where they're just threatening activists, they're bragging about their pay. Like there's no professionalism whatsoever amongst them. They're being explicitly political, fist bumping, like alt-right content creators and that sort of thing. I feel like if there is a crisis for ICE, it's a crisis that they entirely created for themselves. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the only people who took this job, which by the way was supposed to be easy money, as you said, only 47 days of training, bonuses that you don't necessarily have the skill set to command, all kinds of things. But now you're on the job and you're acting like the buffoons who would sign up for this. You already knew what it was. This guy, Trump, told us exactly what he was going to do. And then he said about doing it, and a lot of these people joined. It's just like, when you talk about the bad police forces out there, there's a certain kind of psychological profile that races off to a police department, can't make it anywhere else, some of these people, because they want to be in positions of power over other people. They want to exert power, force, unnecessarily so. They're not reasonable. This is the type that you are attracting.
Yeah, no, 100%. 47 days of training. So they get roughly twice as much training as new producers on this show get. And by the way, at least to my knowledge, none of my producers have ever shot anybody in the face. So we've got a better track record and in half the training time. Hilo's really worked up about this as well. He's unhappy about what's going on with ICE. And yeah, there's the stuff about their inability to read or write, their inability to pass physical fitness standards. And I am sure Jamie Raskin is calling for investigations into this. Like if they were to investigate, how many militia members do you think are in ICE now? How many former insurrectionists are in ICE? How many people with violent crimes in their past? I mean, they used to join up in militias because they're like, I want to be able to dominate somebody, and that's how I would do that. Now they're being told, yeah, you could do it. In fact, we're going to send you to a blue city. You could go take it out on Somalis or whatever if you want. And so that's definitely an investigation waiting to be done. But let's turn now to Ken got leaked some really fascinating documents out of ICE and Border Patrol. And there's some guidance about how they're supposed to act in certain situations. And we know that they're acting however they want in every situation. But at least according to the PowerPoint presentations, they are being told that passive resistance alone is not conduct under the oft-cited regulation that you'll see them screaming at activists in viral videos. Saying, example, non-compliance, refusal to cooperate with officers' commands, disobeying commands without fighting back, taking photographs or videotaping an officer or operation in public. Those are all just things that you are allowed to do, or you should be allowed to do, but ICE now could arrest you, could detain you, could beat the crap out of you if you do those things that are your constitutional right as United States citizens. They specifically say profanity or personal insults directed at officers is allowed, rude gestures, arguing with officers, challenging their authority, no matter what Cartman says, talking back to officers during police contact. You can do all of this, and as a reminder, they are not cops. They're not supposed to be interacting in this way with regular people. They're supposed to be doing the immigration stuff and then bringing in cops if there's a crime that a non-migrant is committing. They are violating every bit of this. And they are violating it because they know there is extremely unlikely any consequences coming for it. There should be. Right now, they're not. And how could there be? We don't even get to know who these people are. They are literally the secret police. Hell, the secret police in most old school fascistic regimes didn't even cover their face. You, in theory, could take a photo of them. We've taken it a step further. And I don't hear nearly enough being proposed to solve this. I saw Ken had tweeted out that Representative Richie Torres he has a bill that he wants to put a QR code on all of their jackets or whatever that you can scan to get their identity. Why don't we just take the masks off and have their name there? Like, we solved this problem a long time ago. And so you can do all these things, or at least you should be able to. If they violate your rights when you've done these things, you can and should sue. But Sharon, I know that the system is set up, obviously, that these regulations, it's not really what rules the day anymore. But what do you think?
No, but it's still good. I think you have to resist at every single turn. File every single lawsuit. The problem is, as you alluded to, it doesn't help in the moment. Doesn't keep people safe. Doesn't keep people competent. It reduces us to fear and doing things after the fact. It's like being on your heels. But I still think it's a positive step to say we're going to still resist, we're going to pass measures, we're going to insist on some oversight, which is like a non-existent tool anymore. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.